Howdy. Ugh. I'm like all kinds of exhausted. Physically, mentally, spiritually, etc., etc. So, I don't know. There's a couple of videos I've been working on, but it's like this past week it's been really hard to focus on anything outside of just core life stuff. You know, one of them's already done, but I don't know. I'm probably just gonna scrap it. It feels dated now. It's like a lot of the things that I talk about in my videos, if I don't edit my video and put it up like the next day, it's just pointless. You know, and that one's been done for about a week, but that's because it was the easy one to do. How to explain this? I don't really think it matters. I'm just sitting here rambling as I do the dishes. Kind of let the kitchen go yesterday, so here I am today. It's just weird, man. It's like we live in such strange times. And it's like every day that goes by I feel crazy, but it's like, am I? Because then I see headlines and I'm like, I try to ignore the headlines, but it's hard to ignore the headlines when the world does what it does, you know? Like, just because you ignore all the BS doesn't mean it still doesn't just happen, you know? Let's go. You know, where we're all at. And it's like, I've spent so many months trying to figure out making sense of our collectively screwed up situation, the world order. And once I finally came together with a conclusion for the state of things, it's like, where do we go from here? And I have my own ideas of kind of how we rectify our global issues, but it's just one of those things where, you know, it seems like a very simple ask, but when you look at the world, it's impossible. None of us can get along. None of us, like, we're all so obsessed with like arguing over like the finest minute details of things that we can't just look at the bigger picture, you know? It's like, take religion, for example. The core ethos of most religions, the lesson it's essentially being taught, is to be good to one another. Okay, so why is that so difficult? Why is it so difficult for people to just put aside their unnecessary BS, come together, and live right by one another? Well, it's the other systems in the world that we live in. And look at America, for example. It's like, America was founded on Christian values. Like, are you sure? Because I don't know if y'all read the same Bible I have, because it don't seem like it. You know, it's like, in America, money, well, it's like the world order, right? God is money. Money is God, you know, and the capitalist machine is the religion in which we operate. And it's like, that's like very, very present in the world. And it's especially America. And it's like, I mean, you want to say like, oh, we're a Christian nation. It's like, are you really? Then why do we not follow the teachings of Christ? Like, that doesn't make a ton of sense. And, you know, it's like, Christ, I don't remember Christ saying you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you fucking piece of shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like anyone that takes like 5 seconds to give this shit a critical eye, it's like, it's so stupid, man. It really is. And it's exhausting. It truly is. To live in a world of so much hypocrisy where we can't just be good to one another. Yeah, today I had to go to I had an appointment, long story short. But man, just getting an appointment to get a tire change done at Walmart was like a pain in the ass. Like obviously I chose Walmart because it's the cheapest place to do it. But man, it was a headache. Issue after issue, just making a damn appointment, just getting the damn tire there. And then even when I get there, it's headache after headache. And here's the howdy. Hey, here's the part that matters. Like the guy that's doing it, it's like, for lack of a better term, he was an asshole. And it's just one of those things where it's like I just kept my cool and moved on because I couldn't help but get one thing out of my head. How would I feel if I was that person working there? With what little information of the world that I have of that individual's position. I would hate it. I would be miserable too. And it's like, what good is it for me to react to his asshole behavior, his negativity, when very clearly I can make an educated guess that he is operating this way because of his own issues, and they could be tied to work, they could be tied to this or that, but it's like, why would I feed into that? And moment by moment by moment, it was like I know how I am and I know how I've been for most of my life, and man, there are so many ends where I could have just reacted the way that I would normally react, and I would repay the asshole behavior in kind. Once again, what good does any of that do? None. It just keeps us in this perpetual cycle of being in this situation where we're always rude to one another. And it's like, I don't want to continue the cycle. I don't want to play the game. I just want to get my tire changed and move on with my life. You know, that's it. And that kind of like helped me in the moment because, dude, I feel it all the time. Like, this whole be good to other people is very hard when most people I just can't stand. You know, like that's just the truth of how I feel. It's like most people in the world, I would, like, if I were the last person on earth and I was just wandering whatever was left of the world, I think I would be perfectly fine with that. I mean, aside from losing close family and friends, given, it's just one of those things where it's like I'm so done with the world. It's not that I'm necessarily done with people, but like, look at the way that the world has been set up for us to be at odds with one another. And I'm just like so over it. Like, shake it off. Yeah, shake it off, right? Yeah, so it's ultimately what I just have to do. It's like, you know, accept the things I cannot change and have courage to change the things that I can with the wisdom to know the difference. I'm not in AA or anything like that, but I was raised in it, so very, very familiar with the mantra. It's like I'm sitting here trying to figure out how can I be a better person, and I think I've been doing fine, but the hard part comes from the fact that I have to acknowledge that the rest of the world's not going to do that. And man, at first it seems really good, really easy. But then as time goes on and it's just more and more dog shit, it's like I'm putting forward this kindness and this effort, and I'm being met back with hostility, and I'm being met back with just more just rampant negativity. And it's like, it's exhausting to be nice and to be good to people that from a worldly perspective otherwise don't deserve it. You know, I can decompartmentalize things. So, and I understand that at the end of the day, be good to your neighbor, yada, 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 yada. And it's like, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just pointing out how difficult it is. Like, that's where we're at, man. Everything is cooked. We're all screwed. Like, I mean, yeah, for real. Like, there's hope. Don't get me wrong, but like, when and where is it going to come from? You know, it's like, even when we are presented with hope, it's essentially just more of the same. And it's like, They need to release those damn Epstein files, man. It's like we've gotten past the point where we're like, okay, we get it, right? It's like my running theory is like the government won't open until the administration has had enough time to clean up the files so that when the vote is passed and it is put out there, no one will essentially get in trouble for it. I mean, hell, like the presidential pardon has been used and abused for the entire time that it's been a thing. You know, Nixon should have never been pardoned, but he was. And then, you know, a bunch of the people that Joe Biden pardoned, dog shit, you know. And then the people that Trump are pardoning, sure as shit don't fucking deserve it, man. And it's like take the January 6ers, for example. It's like, I am of the camp where if you truly, honestly, as a collective, agree that your government is dog shit, you should fucking do something about it. But I also do not advocate for violence. But I understand that the founding fathers wrote the Constitution in such a way to where we would go after any threats, both foreign and domestic, including a tyrannical government. That's because that's what they were up against. That's what founded this nation, right? Is us going up against fucking Great Britain, the British Empire, and us claiming our sovereignty from them. And so when we made our Constitution and made our country, it was with it in mind that if we ever get to the point where we're treating our own civilians as shitty as the Great Britain treated us, fuck it. We deserve to start over. So yeah, as far as the January 6ers, I can sympathize with the mindset, but then again, it's like, I don't know. I thought it was a very meme-worthy thing, but at the same time, it was kind of like a setup. Not saying that it was all done by the feds, but hell yeah, Jesus loves us all. But yeah, but like it was very clearly like, you know, both sides were in on it, right, left and different. And then what did we? While we had all of our attention there on January 6th and the chaos at the Capitol, and then you had Congress members fucking lying about being there when they even fucking weren't, just propagating the narrative, you know, like instilling the fear, instilling the chaos, making us more and more at odds with one another. All of that shit, right? What was going on in the background? A bunch of mysterious vans leaving the White House. Goes back to the Epstein stuff, and then what people don't want to acknowledge goes back to this whole fucking old-ass fucking cabal of nefarious people that do horrible things to children, and it's like, but no, we're not supposed to like think of that or acknowledge it. It's not supposed to be shoved in our faces. We're just supposed to just ignore that element of, you know, it's like one of the reasons why the French did what they did was not just because of famine, not just because of income inequality, not just because of a fucking tanking economy, and how the aristocracy just couldn't handle governing the masses, right? What was like one of the other things that's lesser talked about was that the French elite were abusing children. That was another rallying cry for the revolution to do what they did. But they don't put that stuff in history books. You know, this is why it's so important that there's different elements of history to get the full picture. In order to understand the narrative that we're being fed and how it's all dog shit, you got to look at the wide scope of history, okay? And my thing is narrative. Look at the narrative and then try to piece shit together. And I've always felt that through our culture, through our arts, those are things that kind of exemplify some form of truth. And there's like a lot of French paintings from people within the circles of the elite that, you know, they seem like these wonderful pieces of art, but if you do any digging whatsoever, you know, the kind of the themes and subject matter and the intentions behind it are they make your brain melt, man, and not in a good way. It's scary shit of the world that we live in, but it's always been more of the same. Nothing's ever really changed because for the longest stretch of time in human history, the people that are keeping us in this position that where we're at, the people that are all a part of the same club that kind of do what they do to take advantage and abuse the masses, and through trauma-based mind control, I guess you can say, but through trauma-induced fear, they kind of push us into thinking anything other than what is the absolute truth. You know, we're meant to just, you know, buy what they say as opposed to actually think for ourselves. And the ones that do think for themselves, well, we are labeled as batshit crazy, you know? It's, I don't know. It's all... It's just a mess, dude. It truly is. And this is where we're at. And it's like every moment of every day, it's like, I try not to think about it, right? It's like, I'm grateful for what I have and where I'm at. So, and I know that so many others have it so much worse off than me. So why even focus on these things? Why even have it be a thought? And it's like, you know, as time goes on and it more and more becomes to affect me, it's like, how long can I go with this whole gratitude thing, you know, and like, oh, well, you know, it sucks to be other people. I really feel bad for them. I want to advocate that people have the same access and opportunities that I do, because if I don't advocate for others, then I don't deserve the shit that I have. Like, that's the mindset that I've always had. But it's kind of getting to the point where more and more we're all kind of being lumped together and we're all kind of screwed. You know, and it's not a red thing. It's not a blue thing. It's a both of them thing. And it's like, I don't think that collectively we're going to get any real progress unless there's like an actual spiritual awakening in this not just this country, but the world. I sincerely am of the camp that, you know, this is an era in human history where the masses of the world finally get together and we're like, dude, this is stupid. Like, what are we doing? It's like, you know, and I think that, you know, some sort of widespread spiritual awakening is probably the thing that's gonna push us forward where we need to be the most. But who knows, man? Because most people, like, they want to argue the details. So how can there be any kind of spiritual awakening in the world if people are so hemmed up on the finer details as opposed to just, who cares about the intricacies? Just fucking be good to one another. Understand that we are but a speck in the world, and there's something far greater above and beyond us, you know? And until people can just, at the very least, acknowledge that, nothing's going to happen, you know? We're just going to continue to spiral more and more into this dog shit that we call reality. I don't know. I know. It's like I even hear it. I hear me saying it. It's like, dude, it's super pessimistic, man. Like, that's no fun. Who wants to live like that? Which is why it's like I try to turn my brain off to it. You know, I try not to doom scroll. I try not to read the news too much. Because let's face it, it's all dog shit anyways. Right, left, it doesn't matter. Whoever wins, we get screwed. They don't ever do anything that's actually within our best interest. So that's why I don't even bother voting anymore. It's like, you know, it used to be I was up at camp and like, man, those people that don't vote, they're part of the problem, man. Because they want to bitch, moan, and complain, but they're not doing the bare necessity to instill any kind of positive change that they're actually looking for. But then when I realized that it's all a sham anyway, what's the point? So, yeah, that's kind of like the position that I've gotten to. It's like, you know, as much as like, you know, these systems that be are what they are, they're clearly not working. And it doesn't matter if right wins, it doesn't matter if left wins, because at the end of the day, they're both going to screw us over while laughing behind our backs. You know, we might think that they're at odds with one another, but no, they're just passing the positions of power from one person to another. That's it. It's not like they're actually like fighting for and doing anything. It's like, so what are we doing, man? What are we doing? This is crazy. This is nuts. Like, why are we getting so like invested in this crap? Because at the end of the day, we still have to pay bills. At the end of the day, we still have to send our tax dollars to pedophiles. That's why. Because, like, let's talk. Someone had mentioned Jesus in the chat. You know, thinking about it more and more, and mulling on it more and more. Whether you believe in Christ or not, let's just look at history, okay? During that time when Christ was in the world, the Roman Empire was terrible. This is fact. You know, they were like any other empire that we've seen in human history, like America, like Great Britain, Portugal, Spain, the Romans with the Soviet Union. Like every empire throughout human history has followed the same disastrous pattern, is that they get into this mindset of continued growth. And so you have to grow the empire, and you have countless wars all over the place. And, you know, and yeah, you're getting money because that's part of the funding machine, is to do all these wars. And then that money goes back to the pockets of the elite. It goes back to the pockets of their friends and the people that they're connected to. But it doesn't actually go back to the citizens. It doesn't actually go back to maintaining the empire itself. And then the empire starts to crumble. And it's the same thing, man. It's like we're doing the same stupid shit that we've been doing for thousands of years. Thousands of years of recorded history, man. And so because of that, at that point in time, 30-ish AD, you know, you got not just Christ, but you had a whole bunch of other, I guess you call them prophets, I guess you call them just spiritual leaders, you know, trying to bring people together in some fashion, right? And it's hard. It's really hard to get people to acknowledge like the spiritual things and focus on that and being good to one another when they're still being oppressed on the daily. It's like I get it now. It's like it's really hard when we live in the world that we live in with, you know, we have this one life, man. And because of that, you know, it's like it's really hard to do those things when we gotta take care of the things we got to take care of, you know? And that's why it's like hearing like that their Messiah was preaching love and acceptance, but not condemning the people doing the aggressing, which, you know, like even historically, and even in the Bible, like Christ obviously did that. He went after the Pharisees and, you know, the religious establishment and whatever. Like, I get it. Yeah. So that's something that he did. But, you know, he didn't necessarily advocate for violence, although he did remind people of potential wrath. Anyway, without getting caught in the weeds and all that shit. It's like, I get it, because that's the kind of hero that people want. When people saw the Luigi stuff happening, that was something that brought right, left, middle, everyone together. You know, because it's like, even though it was some terrible stuff and it's not something I would advocate for to do change, I can understand the mindset of people being sick and tired of these elite groups just using and abusing us and taking control however they see fit while the rest of us suffer. So, again, do not advocate for it, but I understand it. And I think that's, you know, something that, you know, it's baseline that we all need to do, is we kind of need to like come together and understand, you know, why we're feeling the way that we do. And I think through that we can find some commonality. And it's like seeing all this whole thing with the SNAP stuff lately, it's kind of heartbreaking because you have some people that really needed it. Like that's, and you know, that, yeah, not to say that there isn't like, you know, fraud, waste, and abuse in the world. I mean, obviously that's a thing. But by and large, for the most part, you know, these are just people like trying to make ends meet, etc., etc. But then you got these hateful people that are basically like, hey man, you know, like fuck you, like, you know, fuck you. And I'm not even explaining this properly. So you got two people. One group of people that are really upset that, these benefits that help, take care of their lives is going away. And then you have this other group of people that are cheering for the suffering of others. And unfortunately, a good section of those people will consider themselves Christians. That's the part that breaks my fucking brain. Did these people not fucking listen to the words of Christ? And if they did, like, who the fuck translated that for them? Who the fuck gave them this idea that Jesus was some sort of capitalist fucking simp? It's like true, actual, down-to-earth Christians, man. They're not, the people that actually listen to the gospel and what it's all supposed to mean, these people aren't going to just say, hey, yeah, fuck starving children, fuck single mothers. If anything, let's hypothetically say Christ was in the world. Not to say that he would ever advocate for any form of government, but let's say hypothetically he did. I propose that he would lean towards a more socialist approach as opposed to a capitalist one. Because the love of money is the root of all evil. This whole material want. And then once you have more than enough than you could ever spend in a lifetime, it's no longer about money. I mean, hell, it becomes no longer about money well before then. But it's all just part of the game. It's all about, it's all about just power for power's sake. Not to do anything worthwhile with it, but, it's all about looking powerful and being powerful. And, the more powerful you are is demonstrated by how many people you can make suffer at a snap of your fingers, Like, that's how these pieces of shit operate. Like, how these world leaders are. Like, they don't give a fuck about us. Let's be real. At the end of the day, they really honestly do not care. A good portion of that is because a lot of the people in charge of the world, a lot of the people in these elite positions, they are out of touch. Like, and not just them, even the people that were like you and me, the people that once came from relatively humble beginnings, those people equally as out of touch. And it's because they bought into the same system. Let's look at celebrities, right? It's like they have this thing where it's like they don't, like, of the ones that did come, that had to work for it or to demonstrate some sort of skill or talent to kind of become some sort of celebrity, right? They had to, they kind of justify, like, well, I deserve all this because I'm special, or I worked really hard, and therefore I can, operate like a total piece of shit with impunity. And I have all the money, I have all the fame, I'm essentially untouchable. They've completely lost the plot, man. That's and it's like, that's why I'm not a big fan of sports. Like, and here's the thing, it's not so much the sport itself, it's the people. I just find it so fucking disgusting. I understand how the systems work, so hey, if you're gonna, be contracted with a whatever the fuck and make a shitload of money, that's just how the systems are designed, man. How can I be upset that we're just operating in the world as the world is operated to be worked, So it's such a weird thing. Dualism is acknowledging, like, almost paradoxical things, but just accepting it for what they are, because things that are opposing can indeed actually they can coexist. It's not to say that one overwrites the other, but that's when you look at reality for what it is. Like, prime example, if I have a loved one that I have an issue with, I can feel some type of way. That doesn't mean that I don't love them. I can still love people, but have other opinions of them that wouldn't normally line up with love. But that's part of the whole unconditional thing, right? Is that despite these things, we still love these people. Yeah, it's hard because a lot of people, especially people we care about, don't want to They look at like any kind of criticism as you not loving them or you not caring about them. And it's like, dude, like there are times in life where I've been an asshole and I have garnered more than enough fair criticism, right? And if someone I care about calls me out on my bullshit, that does not mean that they don't love me. If anything, it demonstrates that they love me a lot. And that they respect me because they feel comfortable being able to communicate these things to me. If they didn't respect me, they wouldn't say these things to me. They wouldn't feel this way. You know, they would just tune it out, one ear and out the other. You know, that's kind of how I've come to grips with a lot of these concepts. At the end of the day, there are two competing forces in our reality, love and fear. We are just love one another. That is what will elevate us as a whole. But by programmed and induced mass panic and fear, we are led to oppose one another and drift away from love. You know, the oppositions aren't love and hate. Because to hate something, you had to have felt something for it. I mean, that's probably just like a linguistic thing. Like, I still use the terminology hate, like for, you know, I don't know. It gets messy and tricky when you start bringing like definitions of language into it, because once again, what does that do? That encourages us more to ignore the actual message being shared and nitpick the semantics of the things that we're talking about. So, once again, it's like another example of even when you try to articulate something, it just invites people to pick it apart, because that's the world that we live in. We live in a world where that's where the constant is like, na 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 na, as opposed to like, can we just cut the shit and like, whew. But that's just me and my weird shower thoughts in the middle of the day. I attempt to clean my kitchen without using too much water because I don't want to fuck with the audio too much. I wish I could just find a way to keep that up. It's just easier. You know, if I could ask for anything in the world, it would most definitely be serenity, some peace. But it's like everyone in the world is all out for a slice of the pie that doesn't belong to them. And there's one justification after another for the atrocities man will place upon each other. And then the cycle continues. Come on. Ooh. Let's make this. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like I just, I don't know how to feel about it anymore. It's like as every day goes on, it's like as I know that there is hope for the world out there, it's like I see less and less of it. And I don't want to be that negative Nancy and feel that way, but it's like if I'm just going to be open, transparent, and honest, that's my feeling. The feeling is that we're probably not going to get our shit together. I really, really hope that we do. But at the same time, I acknowledge what a big ask that is. Because essentially you're asking for a lot of people to give up their own selfish needs, wants, and desires. And, acknowledge that, hey, maybe we should be better to one another as opposed to constantly looking out for ourselves. In our own best interests. we live in a country that has these systems built up, the never-ending profit, to constantly just I don't have the words, to constantly just do whatever we can to make a little number go bigger, like we evaluate our success on how famous we can be, on how adored by others we can be, by how much money is in our fucking bank account, how many assets we own, how much we have more in comparison to someone else. And it's such a twisted, stupid way to like live life, because then are you even truly living for yourself at that point? You're just feeding into more of what the system wants. And it's like the system's broken. That much we can agree on. But the specifics of how it's broken, that's where it gets dicey. Because most people only look at the parts of the system in place that disadvantage them, as opposed to disadvantaging other people. So like I believe that if you're a wealthy person and you were ethical in your ways of obtaining that wealth, then yeah, of course, you deserve it, man. Kudos to you. You fucking want life. But let's be fucking real and honest, man. The vast majority of the wealthy people, not just in our country, but in the world, did not get that by ethical means. A lot of these people are, they're bankrupt, and the evidence is following the money. That shows just like where their actual priorities lie. I don't know, what do you guys think? Am I just spiraling here? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like that's what it is, that I'm alone in this thinking. I don't think that I am. I've seen enough online discussions with people that feel similarly, but I don't know. It's all fake. It's all a show. This game that we play, and we're constantly at odds with one another, and there's no end in sight. Yada yada. Yada yada. What would be the best piece of advice? Tune it out, stop paying attention to it. It gets really hard to do when it starts hitting home. When the systems in place are flawed and against you, and there's little that you can do against it. But at the same time, they're of enough importance where you can't just ignore them. I feel like that's how it is for a lot of us. That we're faced with these strange existential threats beyond our control and our understanding, and we must yield to them the best we can while at the same time defending what little rights we remain. It's like, how do you balance that? How do you balance that? That's the big kicker. How do you come to grips with all this stuff, I have my own weirdo theories for how we got here. Would not consider them gospel, but I do find it to be a very compelling framework. But at the end of the day, I don't think it matters, because once again, we live in the here and now. So, more people need to acknowledge our history, acknowledge the fact that we're being had, we're being played, we're being lied to. But until the masses decide to do that, they're going to keep consenting to our own demise. Because no one wants to be uncomfortable. And especially here in America, where we've been very comfortable for a very long time here on the home front, for the most part, that's what makes it next to impossible for any real substantial change. Because people have been so brain dead and indoctrinated to believe that by voting in this person or that person, it's really going to cause a change. Which, do I think so? I mean, there's hope in it, but once again, that's like hoping that the broken system can right itself. I mean, is that smart? Is that a great idea? It's like, hey, this system's broken. Let's just hire new people for the roles and they'll fix it. And those same people do the same thing everyone else in charge did. Is that they go after their own selfish interests. They go after ways to benefit. And then once they have that power, they do everything they can to keep it. And so, here we are. More of the same, always. And that's the part, for lack of a better phrase, keeps me up at night. It doesn't keep me up at night, but you get what I mean when I say that. It's something that is of enough cause of concern for me to think about, for me to contemplate, for me to, like, sure, my mental energy can be well better spent elsewhere, but I don't think that we should ignore these things. Because, like it or not, it's only a matter of time before the people that rallied for all these terrible things are next on the chopping block. That the people advocating for the suffering of others then become the ones that suffer. So the wheel keeps on spinning. Well, I've barely been live for 42 minutes. No fucking way, dude. No way. I've really hardly done any dishes, to be honest with you. There's no way I've been live for 42 minutes. It feels like it's been like 15, if that. Where do we go from here? I mean, obviously I have a couple different ideas, but the one I would primarily lean towards is that we collectively have some sort of awakening, which I don't like that term, but we would come to some understanding as a collective that this shit just isn't working. So, start over. But that would mean that the people that took advantage of and used the system to become wealthy, to become successful, it would mean for them to acknowledge their own wrongdoing. And they don't want to give up what they have, so why would they advocate for things to change? They want to keep things bare minimum, for the most part, where they're at, so that they can maintain whatever they've acquired. And that's how they get us, man. They let a few of us rise up. Fewer of those to rise further. Fewer of those to elevate above more. And then a very small percentage of those to meet up at the top with the parasitic elite that have been running rampant, destroying everything we hold dear in the world. Everything that makes life worth living, everything that makes humanity worth saving, they destroy. And then they make us point the finger at one another to shift the blame, as opposed to acknowledging the real bastards doing the dirty work. And so the wheel keeps spinning. So the wheel keeps spinning. Great. That was the cats. Oh yeah? Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm speaking to a void. No one's watching. It's fine. I'm just like so mentally done and drained and blah 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 blah. And it's like, and if I feel this way, the people in this world that are really impoverished, the people that are really treaded upon, how do they feel? You know, I don't know. I just went so much of my life like drinking the Kool-Aid, and eventually it turns bitter. And it's like instead of like doing more shifting blame, I look at myself and how I've been, and it's dog shit. Like I allowed myself to get to buy into the nonsense. Even when like I was at my most like worst in life, you know, I still like bought into the whole thing, and it's like, you know, chop it up to my own life experiences, chop it up to how I was raised. Hey! I got him. I got him. Good job, bud. Those damn cats. Where was I, man? I don't even know. I'm just feeling a lot of things, and like hopeless is one of them. Like, and it's the thing is, it's like not so much for me in the right here and now. It's for the all of us as the road continues. As the wheel spins, the axle's broken, but it's and still trudging along. Eventually, we're just gonna hit one pothole that's just gonna shake the whole carriage, you know. But the thing is, if people haven't kind of gotten their shit together yet, that's the part that makes it really, really hard. Because after everything that we've seen, yet we still can't come together. You know, knowing that like multiple celebrities and politicians are all involved in this Jeffrey Epstein stuff, and you know we've connected all the dots that we can, and it's like that's it, man. It's like we've looked behind the curtain well enough, and you know what? Nothing's changed. It's like the masses are tired of it, but I guess like, you know, as much as they want change, no one wants to do the work necessary. It's like, oh, we'll just vote them out when the time comes. It's like, haven't we been saying that for decades and decades and decades? And what, we get rid of one shitty politician and another one comes up? And then all these fucking celebrities, like, we turn a blind eye to all the bullshit that they do. It's like, well, they really like the movie they're in. They make really good music. It's like, I don't get it. Like, how can you, like, acknowledge that something's wrong, disagree with, like, the narrative and stuff, but continue the path? Like, that's the part that I don't get. That's the part that really gets me. It's like, it makes me feel the most crazy. See if I missed anything. Nope, didn't miss anything. Look, I'm just spitballing. If there's anyone here that wants to say anything, please, it'll help tremendously. At the same time, I don't mind just speaking into the void because it's better out than bottling it up, these fucking cats. They just want to keep fighting with each other. Oh, shit, man. Probably just need to super glue these on at this point. Okay. Really don't know why y'all gotta be this way. Anyway, so I don't want to be all doom and gloom, so thoughts, commentary, concerns, etc. Really appreciate it. I don't know. It's like I don't want to invite more negativity, but at the same time, better out than in. So, go, go, go. No fighting. God, Sophie, seriously, I love you. You're almost always in the way. Where was I? These damn cats. Driving me bonkers. I just wish there was a way just to keep it up. But whatever. And this one breaks my heart. I got this, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. This Keurig I got from the missus, but it's been having one issue after another. First issue is that it wouldn't work, like at all. And so they had a really good warranty on it. We didn't have to even pay extra for it. It was just a standardized manufacturer's warranty because it stopped working after like 3-4 months. And we're able to exchange it for this one. This one lasted about 3-4 months. And it just doesn't work. So, me being me, and big advocate of the whole right to repair movement, the only way to reasonably go about this is to do my own due diligence and try to fix it the best I can. Dog sex. It's like, yeah, it's so weird. It's like everything's like clipped in on this. How do I, like, yeah, like the way these are clipped in too, it's not very easy. It's like, yeah, it's going to take a while to take apart and figure out what the hell's wrong with it. And then by the time I figure out what's wrong with it, I'll probably have to get a replacement part. But in the world we live in, getting a replacement part for fucking anything is like pulling teeth. So I could probably just save myself a massive headache and just get rid of it. It's not like I can use it anyway. It's cool. It's one of the coolest coffee makers that I ever had. And it was a really nice gift, but It's one of those things where it's like, well, you've demonstrated to me you had one opportunity and you did right by having a decent manufacturer's warranty, but let's be real, if this is the reality that these machines are just gonna break out of fucking nowhere, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? What's the point? Because all it does is incentivize me not to use it anymore. Not to buy into the crap anymore. Alright, I think I'm... Let me head out real quick. I'm gonna go shove this in the garage. Ba, 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 ba. Hey, nice to see you as well, bud. I have you in my ear. I'm gonna head to the garage very quickly to just drop this off. Can't use it anyway, so it's just sitting here taking up counter space. Here you go.
There's a bunny right there.
Okay. Hi. I'm back. How are you doing today? I was just sitting here talking about our collectively screwed up situation and how, as a society, collectively we've all lost the plot. Long story short. Kind of the long and the short of the lore in which we are. I'm not a big fan of celebrities, and if anything, all celebrities do. Idols, all they do is encourage more of the rampant, bad, terrible behavior and push forward and encourage division. And then most people are so completely disillusioned and they're so obsessed with these celebrity figures that they don't even acknowledge how fucking terrible they are. Not just as people, but as role models. You know, it's like that's what makes me feel like we're screwed. Like no matter what, it's like no one's, you know, the people that are invested in this shit, they're gonna. It's that whole cult of personality thing. And that's kind of, you know, what led us to the mess in which we are in. And I hope and I pray that we collectively get our shit together, but unfortunately and honestly, that remains to be seen. But let's just be. Ah! So I'm running out of steam here. Like there's so much in the world I would want to talk about, but I can only talk to a void for so long. It's like I just feel like I'm repeating myself, you know? Not everything is lost. It's not like we're getting there, but it's like we can kind of all see which direction the wind is blowing. But more people want to just live in ignorance as opposed to actually acknowledge how fucked everything is. Because they don't want to have to feel any way that they are themselves responsible for contributing to such a terrible system. You know, because the system that they bought into, that they built their life around, to acknowledge the cracks in it would be to acknowledge that they don't deserve what they have or whatever. Some sort of weird psychological fucking gymnastics that ultimately makes no sense. That's where we're at. I don't know Carl Benjamin, I'm sorry. Ah, shit. No. Some of them are really good people in there, no. I mean, to a degree. I mean, that's, I don't know, that just comes off as more of like, continuously drinking the Kool-Aid and, you know, like look at Selena Gomez, for example. She's a fucking colossal piece of human dog shit. But she has a charity in Africa. It's like, yeah, and the same charity that got closed down for fucking sexual misconduct with the girls. You can't tell me that she wasn't aware of some shady shit going on. And not to mention the fact that the vast majority of funds raised for that never actually went to the actual foundation. And the money that her foundation was raising never actually went towards fucking helping anybody. Basically just the bare minimum to keep the lights on. You know what I mean? Well, there was a whole slew of people from the top down that kind of benefited from all this shit. That's the kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, on their face and in public they might like, oh, I have this whatever. But when you actually do a little digging, it's like dog shit. Like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That is quite literally just a giant money laundering scheme. And any projects that do come out of it are all things that are kind of geared towards the downfall of fucking humanity. Prime example, what was it? I believe in India, they had this vaccine thing, like, oh, we're going to give vaccine to children. But it turns out they weren't known, tested, and approved. They were using the populace of that region as testing for their vaccines. Not entirely against vaccines, but when there's bullshit out in the world, you got to acknowledge it for what it is, as opposed to turning a blind eye to it. You know, so those are the things where it's like, yeah, on its face, it might seem like this good thing, but you ever do a little bit of digging into like, well, follow the money. Where's the money going? And then you see it's not actually ever going towards fucking helping anything, because if you help something, it's no longer there for you to use to then generate revenue from. It's much more profitable to keep people suffering than it is to actually help them. And then your other one. Yeah, Carl Benjamin. I don't know if you've mentioned that person before or not. Lotus Eaters. Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure that he is. I've just never heard of him before. I don't know if you've brought him up before. You probably have. I'm terrible with names. I'm more of a face guy. No, I haven't heard that at all. I haven't heard his recent stuff. You know, I got a lot more to clean, but it involves me using the water, and it's just gonna be louder than shit. So, let me, I guess, focus on that. As much as I would love to keep talking, it just, I have to. I mean, if you look right here, it looks fine. Ignore whatever's up there. I don't even know what the hell that is. I have no idea. Okay. yeah, I can never tell or not. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a negative Nancy. Maybe that's it. Maybe the world is actually far better than I'm acknowledging. I don't know. I wish to be proven wrong by it, but it's like I said, it's like every day that goes on, it's like more of the same. And it's just hard. Anyway, so glorious and beloved Mace Valor. I don't know how to turn this one off. Oh.